Nigeria retains spot as Africa's biggest oil producer with 1.48 million barrels per day. I'll be hanging out with Tunde Abaton and Kayode Ladendi. Journalist Hangout starts right now. Now let's begin the conversation. There's still much ado about the tax reform bills proposed by the administration of President Bola Tinubu, as arguments for and against the bills are yet to die down. Amidst the raging debates, the federal government said the tax reform bills currently before the National Assembly are to ensure fairness, equity and justice for Nigerians. The Director General of the National Orientation Agency, NOA, Larry Isaonilu, said the bills are designed to scrap over 50 nuisance taxes suffered by local businesses. According to him, VAT will no longer be calculated based on where companies have their headquarters, but where the goods are consumed. Meanwhile, the civil society organization have commended President Tinubu for his effort to establish a fair and constitutionally compliant value-added tax VAT sharing formula. The groups described the move as a critical step towards fostering national unity, equity and transparency in revenue allocation. All right, Kayode, let's bring the conversation home here. The new tax reform bill, they said that it will scrap 15 nuisance taxes. Those are the words. But if we actually look at all of those taxes that you're talking about, which of them do you consider irrelevant, archaic?
Yeah, so for me, I think the way they branched the four bills,
yes,
it will take care of a whole lot of things. So many things have been summarized in a particular tax system. Okay. So I think that's what that will achieve. And it's for us to see the bigger picture, you know. It's unfortunate that this thing has gone political. I know that when it has to do with the economy, when it has to do with money, politics cannot be taken away. Okay. And it also, you know, sends the signal that sometimes there's so much about the issue of money, about revenue. Okay. But I think the underlying message here is a lot of states are scared of being more productive. If at all they were productive before. Okay. But for those who are ready, I'll give you an example. I'm sorry, not because the man is the president now. When Asiwaju was the governor of Lagos, you recall that even the federal revenue allocation, it was being denied over the issue of LCDAs. He didn't, as much as he went to court, he knows that this money will come. Sure. We didn't feel it as a state. You understand? All he could depend on is his ingenuity. The team of commissioners that he had at then is, how do we survive? How do we continue without this over-dependency on what comes from the top? Okay. So let's look at these issues. Let's not regionalize the conversation. Let's look at the bigger picture. Let's take it as a challenge. Okay. The fact that they are saying that when you are dealing with the headquarters, it is where these things are consumed that will be taxed. I think that's a fair argument that people should look at, rather than, okay, some Lagos State is about to be more empowered. River State is, and we'll be hearing a whole lot of responses from that angle. But for me, I think it's a good tax. Whatever things that I do not agree with, maybe I don't have the competence to fault it. But the little explanations and some of the things that I've read from the bills, I think is headed in the right direction. All right, today, let me have your thoughts on this one.
Well, I think when you look at the history of taxation in Nigeria, it has been one way or the other. It has tilted in favor of those people who are laying the egg. For instance, now, when you do a business in Lagos, it is Lagos state government that you have done business with. They will tell you there's a withholding tax. That withholding tax belongs to the federal government. 5% withholding tax. They will hold you until the end of the government. At the end of the day, it means the federal government is making money where it does not have any reason to make money. So all those, and then there's the issue of double taxation.
Yes.
Most companies are paying double taxes. They are paying to the state government. They are going to the federal government. Even their employees too. Their tax, part of it goes to the federal government. So this thing is, and I think in the life of a nation, it is at a particular point in time. I used to tell people say it is not this time. What time? At any point in time, you have to streamline the ways you are running your country. If somebody has not been doing it well, somebody has been deceiving somebody for some years, it is incumbent on somebody who wants to face the facts to set the record straight and to get it.
Do you think the reason most of the people have been saying,
look,
is it political?
Well, I think people are unnecessarily trying to draw politics into it. What I think is that it will engender creativity.
Exactly.
You know, when a state is creative, they try as much to identify many areas in which they can make money in Nigeria. There are 36 states in the country. So the more local IGR you have, the more money you have to retain in your state. Because the money will be circulating within your state. And secondly, it will discourage laziness. Laziness in the sense that there are 36 states in Nigeria. I believe that there's no state in Nigeria that has nothing to offer. But because people believe what I describe as feeding bottle economy, that is everybody run
cap in hand to Abuja
every month to collect money. Like I was arguing with somebody yesterday, do you prefer, either because of military rule, we believe that everybody must look to the president. No, there are about 801 governments in Nigeria. We have the federal government represented by the president. We have the 36 state governments. We have 774 local governments in Nigeria.
Yes.
All these people are supposed to be centers of economic activities.
Okay.
If their economy, if their money is revolving around the people, the pressure will not be too much on looking at who is your president. You may not bother about who is the president, even who is the governor, if the legal. So the essence of this task is also to protect the poor people who are relatively below the line. Anyway, it is also to stop people from being unnecessarily extravagant. I read a report yesterday about what led to the sack of a bank executive in Nigeria. Because her boss was kicked out of office, she organized a very lavish send-forth for the boss, for a company that was neck deep in 60 billion naira debt. And you are still organizing that kind of lavish thing. So it will curb the way we are spending money. So by and large, if you know that, like in Britain, I know it is ad valorem tax. Ad valorem is the more you earn, the more you pay. If you earn 600 pounds in a week, you are going to be probably 25% of what you earn. So when people, it will encourage hard working, and people will not buy what they don't need.
Exactly.
In this kind of economy, they will not be too extravagant.
Exactly.
I believe that if you are a civil servant or you are a company worker and your earnings about 250,000 naira, you have no reason, for God's sake, to keep two cars.
Okay. All right. Okay. Right about now, joining us from our Abuja studio for more discussion on this matter is a member of the House of Representatives representing Nigeria Lodun constituency of Lagos State, Kalejaye Adeboye Paul, PhD. Thank you so much for joining us on Journalist Hangout.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so let's begin the conversation this way. The tax reform bill still generating lots of reaction nationwide. But talk to us, what do you consider as the bone of contention in the bills?
Well, thank you very much. Let me first and foremost establish the fact that my views on these programs represent my personal views, and my view as a member of the National Assembly representing Ajero Felodun Federal Constituency does not represent the opinion of the Parliament. Now, to the main question, to say that why is the tax bill still generating a lot of issues? It will continue to generate issues until thy kingdom come. You want to understand that what touches all must be debated by all. The opportunity for Nigerians to hear their views about this bill is germane and very sacrosanct. So, and if you keep quiet,
you will be out of place. So people are not keeping quiet. They're expressing their opinion. And as they're expressing the opinion, the bill will become better fine-tuned. So that's one of the things I need to establish. Secondly, to say that this tax bill is about three major components. One, to my mind, is about wealth redistribution. The tax bill is trying to redistribute wealth. And what do I mean by wealth redistribution? That we don't need to concentrate wealth in a particular place, a particular location, a particular place. What we need to do is to ensure that everybody in the component called Nigeria are beneficiaries of what comes in terms of taxes. And that's why the bill is talking about location, not derivation. Hitherto, we share revenue from VAT and taxes from location. That's headquarters where those industries, companies are located. But the new bill is saying, no, this year the headquarters remain the headquarters. Why don't you allow consumption, location of consumption, to replace, location? And that, of course, will mean that anywhere where these products are consumed, they will take benefit of such things. Then secondly, the bill is also talking about protection of the poor against the rich. We need to protect the poor against the rich. If the poor are not well protected against the rich, God forbid, we're all in trouble. Because if you're a rich man and you live in a house where you have 20 poor people, you are like a poor person. Ask those of us who are practitioners and politicians and see what we go through in our various constituencies. You get text messages, you get calls, and people have not eaten, people want to pay bills, So what this new bill is talking about is about protecting the poor. For instance, increasing the rate, the net at which you are eligible to pay taxes and VATs. For instance, we now have 70,000 as minimum wage in Nigeria. So it means that if you are still below the benchmark, so you don't need to pay. It means that the poor can breathe, and that's what everybody is saying. So that's the second component of the bill. The third component of the bill, which of course some people do, propound it, is that is a bill that is orchestrated by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, to make Lagos richer. But I tell you, this reform will not make Lagos richer. Those of us from Lagos, we have accepted to support the bill, and we have taken a resolution to that effect. Not only because we think it favors us most, but because we believe that the preponderance of migration into Lagos is also orchestrated by the poverty index of the various states, locations where people are migrating. So, and somebody advanced and said, yes, you say this tax will protect us. And we say we don't want. So why are you interested? And Yorùbá will say, if you impoverish your neighbors, you are endangering your own livelihood. If you impoverish your neighbors, they cannot eat. They will invariably come to your territory and bombard you. And then what you have will never be sufficient. So what we're saying is that Lagos is ready to allow every other state to breathe, to partake, and benefit from the wealth of the nation. Even if Lagos will not have the substantial amount of money that it used to have, but then congestion, migration, everything will reduce in Lagos, and Lagos can manage its own affairs.
Okay, Honorable Kalajai, I worry, if you can help us from the vantage position of speaking to your colleagues, is there is this criticism that a good number of your colleagues have not read the bills. Hence, there is probably some kind of uninformed debate that we are having. Can you tell us how this is going? Because some of us are worried that it's taking this ethnic dimension. Of course, we've seen some few people from the north who are also seeing the rationale behind the president's forwarding that bill. What's your informed opinion about this?
It may appear as if that the bill is taking ethnic, regional coloration. It's obvious. But the issue is that in the National Assembly, we have been engaging ourselves in discussion. And when the bill was first presented, we had an opportunity of listening to the proponents of the bill. They were here, they were with us in the House, and they educated us. They gave us the opportunity to ask questions. I have been opportune after that sitting in the National Assembly to also listen to discussants and proponents of the bill, not only on television, on radio, in newspapers, and whatever, but I've also been opportune, apart from that one in the House, to also sit down with them in another forum to discuss the merits and demerits of the bill. So for us, it may have come at a time when all of us may not have read the bill or digested it. It's normal. But then over time, most of my colleagues have been reading the bills. And the opinion I hear from them is that, yeah, there's nothing too bad. We have reservations. And let me tell you the process of parliamentary activities. It is normal that when positions are presented, it's like you present a motion. That's your motion. Or you present a bill. And then what happens? That is your own opinion. That's what you want. What does the House want? The House will debate it and then decipher whether it should proceed to the next stage or not. So what we're saying is that this bill, bad or good, should be allowed to go through the process of parliamentary procedure, whereas the House should be allowed to take the first reading. Then if it will go for second reading, it goes on to the second reading. At the point at which bills are finally determined, it's not the first and second process of reading. It moves on to the next stage, which is, of course, is the stakeholders' engagement. The stakeholders' engagement is where bills are thoroughly trashed, diagonized, deciphered, and, of course, digested, and then taken or dropped. So Nigerians also have an opportunity not to sit on the fence to think that the lawmakers will stop their process of parliamentary proceedings. We will throw it to the stakeholders' engagement, which is, of course, will be allowed for all Nigerians to participate from all walks of life and express their opinion. If at the stakeholders' forum, opinions of Nigeria say we don't want it, so be it. But then the question is, many proponents of these bills who are supporting it and some antagonists of the bill are saying that, yeah, it's not as if the bill is bad, but we don't like this, we don't like this. So it is at that stage, either at the process of the first stage, second stage, that some of those things are amended, or it is at the stakeholder forum where decisions are taken to say, clause A, clause B, clause D, whatever, we don't want. What do we need as replacement? We'll do the replacement. And then it's submitted back to the House. And then the House also, under its own committee, also look at the stakeholders, proponents into the bill, and then we can have it. So my own position very clearly is that we must not be stampeded, either by ethnic coloration, by regional biases, by whatever, to say that we will stop doing our job. We are there to make laws. And when we make laws, it's for the good of the people. And if we are making laws and people say this law is not good for me, so chicken, so let it be. So that's the procedure. The procedure of parliamentary activities is that bills must be read, it must go through the first reading, second reading, and it must go to public hearing. From public hearing, it comes back. So for me, I'm interested in parliamentary procedure. And then we can move on.
Mm. Yes, Honorable Sir, it will appear that the poor people all over the 774 local governments in Nigeria, whom the bill is meant to protect, they are not particularly aware of the implications and the genuine intention of the government. As a member of the House of Representatives, I know you represent Felodun local constituency. What steps have you taken on your own personal level, both as a member of the House and all the other members, to educate the poor people who are in all parts of Nigeria? Because they seem to be at a loss. They regard this as stewardship. What have you done to carry them along so that when public hearing commences, probably in the local government level, they will be tuned to the fact that this bill is the first time in which the poor people in Nigeria are being taken into consideration as per their responsibility to the state?
Yeah, thank you very much. As a member representing Nigeria, Federal Council, on Monday, this very Monday, I had a stakeholders engagement at a training forum that I organized for the youth and for women and everybody. And my first report is to educate them about the tax bill reforms. And I make it known to them some of the things that you know about the tax bill. So it is incumbent on all of us to go back to our various federal constituencies and also re-educate the people. But in re-educating the people, don't forget that they have also chosen you to be their voice. So it is also important to know that, yes, they may know more, but you are supposed to know more because you see it in parliament. You see among the conglomerate of Nigerians. You listen to news, you listen to read papers. Most of the people in our federal constituency may not be opportune to the opportunity that you have. So you also must provide a direction. While you listen to them, while you compute their feelings, and then also take it back to the house. So for me, I'm well equipped, I'm well versed about what my people want. As far as my people are concerned, I can give you a tape of my stakeholders engagement just this same Monday about my education about the tax bill. So, and my people are very much in support because don't forget that I come from Ajegunle, the downtrodden people, the mini Nigeria, where you have the ethnic nationalities, the Igbos, the outside, the Bibos, the Nupes, everybody are there in that very, very, very constituency. And so they have voiced their opinion. They are for the bills. The reservations anybody will have should be thrown open. For me and my colleagues, we will debate it, and the speaker presiding will also listen to opposition views and supporting views, and then we can move on.
All right, before we let you go, Honorable, what do you think is needed to be done on the bills, basically to address the concerns of others opposed to it?
Well, I think the issues are being addressed already. You want to understand that the first reaction to the bill was from the Council of States. And people took the message of the Council of State and interpreted the way they want to interpret it. Some saw it as a rejection of the bill. But in reality, what they were saying was that withdraw the bill, allow for more consultation. And the president said, no, I don't need to withdraw the bill. Let the bill pass through the process of legislation. And it has begun. The process of legislation has begun. And in that period and now, there have been series of engagements to listen to opposition views, to listen to supporting views. And as at yesterday, I know that the APC governors met and they submitted they are supporting the reforms of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So it's still a consultation that is ongoing. I also know that your television perhaps have been in the forefront of discussing these issues. What we're doing here is an education. And I know that, the other stations, which I don't want to mention them, so I'm not promoting any station apart from your station, I've also organized stakeholders forum. And the aggregation of all of those views at that place, even the most, visible voice against the bill, which people perceive, is a perception. And no perception at times can be stronger than reality, that the Northerners are against it. I don't think so. Because if you listen to Dogara, the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, and his postulations, he felt the bill would help the North. So, but some people have impugned politics into the tax bill. And except we decipher politics from reality, the economic reality, let me also explain to you the way I understand it. Is a component of creating abundance for the nation. A nation that cannot create abundance in terms of what to spend, poverty will continue. But if you create abundance, there are price hikes, there are these. If you have the money you can afford, you buy it. So it's to create enough abundance for the nation to have enough resources to pursue poverty programs and alleviate poverty. So I always give an example. In my church, when we created the dome, when they put few toilet rolls, before you get there, the thing is exhausted. But then the church decided to put so many. So when you get there, you see plenty. You don't have anything to take some and put in your bag. Because any time you get there, you can have. So this bill, to my mind, will create abundance. And to those who are opposed to it, I also sympathize with them. But I think that they must let us know where their concerns are, and we shall address it. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you very much. We've been speaking with the member of the House of Representatives representing Nigeria Feludun Kalejai Adeboye Paul, PhD. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us.
Thank you very much, viewers.
All right. He has said a lot. He has said a lot. But just in 1 minute, do you think, for those who have been opposing this bill, do you think if this bill is translated into local languages, do you think it will also educate?
I think the essence of that, according to Mr. Baton, is just to carry everybody along.
Yes.
But the people that will be in the public hearing, you know, they don't have to, they understand English. That's what the point I'm making. They understand English, the governors, the House of Reps, because actually the political class that are coming out to say this is against a particular region. But it gladdens our hearts to see a Dogara whom was a strong opponent
with the things he said.
President. So that's what a logical discussion, a superior argument does to an uninformed mind. So I think it will so true with regular engagement.
In 1 minute, what do you think can be done for the bill to have that?
Well, like you said, the tone and the direction of any particular idea in Nigeria is always guided by the ruling political elite, the educated people. And for the not so educated people, the best thing you can do for them, especially even look at the member of the House of Rep or Senate. There's a saying that if you want to hide anything from the black man, put it inside book. A lot of people who are making the criticism, they never bother to go through the content of the bill.
True.
But they speak out of emotional outbursts. And when you speak out of emotion, there's no logic and there's no reason and there's no fact. So I think we need just more time to explain to Nigeria. Like I said, it will remove listeners and encourage creativity among the states
for them to improve
and
the IGR,
productivity.
exactly. For
them to improve the IGR. When you increase the IGR, you get more tax.
Okay. All right, we need to go on this quick break. When we return, the conversation continues. Don't go anywhere. Still journalist Hangout.
Wires and cables come and come back, light up your life. Come and want to light up your house. Come and want to give you better. Come and extraordinary wire. Come and cables be baba. Come and wires be baba. Come and quality. Come and durable. Come and capable. Come and cables be baba. Come and wires be baba. Come and quality. Come and durable. Come and capable. Everybody.
Coleman Wires and Cable. Great quality. Now with the new look.
Happy birthday to a true pathfinder. Happy birthday to my good friend and elder brother, Governor Hope Uzodimma of Imo State. On behalf of the good people and government of Edo State, I wish you God's uncommon favor, protection, and good health. As chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, you have piloted the affairs of the body well, and I pray that God Almighty will continue to guide you. I wish you good health, more prosperous years on earth, and above all, may God give you the wisdom to continue to pilot the affairs of Imo State and continue to contribute your quota to the development of mankind and society in general. Happy birthday, Your Excellency. Signed, His Excellency Senator Monday Okwebolo, Executive Governor, Edo State.
All right, if you just joined us, it's still Journalist Hangout. I still have Tunde Abaton and Kaide Ladendi. So let's move straight to our next conversation. As Nigerians continue to be inundated by scarcity of cash, the cause and the way out remain some sort of mystery. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has been blamed for the scarcity of cash being experienced in some parts of the country. The Association of Senior Staff of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions attributed the worsening cash shortage across the country to inability of the CBN to meet the cash demands of commercial banks. The president of the association, Olusoji Oluwole, highlighted the impact of the scarcity, particularly as the festive season approaches, with increased demand for cash, for shopping and business transactions. Citing statistics, Oluwole stated that banks collectively require at least 20 million naira daily to operate, with ATMs needing approximately 8 million naira each and 4 million naira over the counter. Kaidi, what do you make of the allegations that the CBN should be blamed for the cash scarcity, not the deposit money bank, but the CBN?
You see, it's a complex issue. It's a complex issue. You know, apart from the blame they've made, I had to even speak to some well-informed bankers to really tell us some of the things that are happening so that we don't just throw the tantrums. Because for me, I wanted to put the blame on the doorstep of the bankers. Okay. Because, for example, one strange thing I found very strange, that the banker actually educated me. I hope I can believe him. Now, how do you explain going to banks, going to ATMs, you don't get to see money, and you have the POS operators giving you any cash you want? But he was able to understand, he was able to explain, because I was saying the bankers must have been giving this money and probably getting some kind of interest in them.
Think.
That's what I also think. Until he explained to me, maybe because he's a banker, he explained to me that that is not true. According to him, what he said is that there is a problem with this idea of cashless society that we're trying to build. Okay. But a lot of markets, because apart from these two sources of money coming to bank, that's the CBN and the retailers, that a whole lot of people in the banks now don't take their money to banks, especially the northerners per se. You know, they will do this business. I went to my 12 market a few days ago, so this is not trying to point any region. Now, you will see the cash flowing, pure cash. I wanted to move 50,000 here, I was given. I moved to the next set, I was given. Another one, 50,000. So they have it in bulk, and this money is not going through the banking system. So I just feel that there must be a kind of, I'm not a professional banker, but I think there must be a kind of system that will allow some of this cash, you know, to be mopped up. I mean, to allow it flow among people. Otherwise, there's going to be bigger problem. For someone like me, I'm not feeling it much because I hardly do with cash.
When you say moving around, is it that people are buying selling the naira?
No, people are retaining their money. They don't take it to the bank. So apart from the fact that CBN is not giving enough cash, for whatever reasons, maybe CBN should speak for themselves, but the retailers are not taking their money enough to these banks. Another way
they don't trust
banks,
the process.
No, it's not about trust. Exactly. Maybe they also don't want stories. When they will say they need their cash, and a lot of people are yet to also move away from this myopic way of no, I want my cash. I don't want to do transaction. I don't trust all this, you know, which is also a major issue. So I sincerely believe that the banks are helpless. The banks shouldn't be blamed. The banks need a whole lot of help if they can be trusted on that explanation they gave to me about the POS.
How about the CBN?
The CBN, for me, I sincerely feel that CBN excuse is likely to be that we are pushing for a cashless society. Let us do a whole lot of transaction that can be traced rather than some money moving and also promoting some kind of money laundering. Trust me, I'm not their spokesman.
I'm still going to talk about the cashless policy. But Tunde, let's look at this. Since the time of the Naira redesign, this issue of cash scarcity has been, and is still here. Do you think the CBN is showing sincerity and capacity in tackling this issue?
Well, let me pose a question to the bankers.
Okay.
I mean, the commercial banks.
Okay.
Is it the CBN that is responsible for the mint cash you see at social parties and social gatherings? People are selling raw cash. Mint cash, I mean meat,
Yes.
fresh from the meat. Is it the CBN that is pushing out
or
the commercial bank?
Commercial.
From where are those people sourcing the money? Because when you want to exchange 10,000 at a social party,
Yes.
they will ask you to put 2,000. Where do they get the money from?
Which is illegal, by the way.
Yes, the CBN
Under
is
Section
the bankers'
21,
bank,
CBN
not
Act.
commercial banks. Nobody goes to the CBN to withdraw cash. It is the central commercial bank that you go to. From where did those people get the money? Let me ask, when last have you collected new notes from any commercial bank? They should answer that question. Number two is that Mr. Oluwole was saying that because of the redesign of the Naira. Yes, if Nigerians don't trust the system again, how do you expect them to push the money back to the bank? When you go to your bank, you cannot withdraw cash. And for retailers, go to Mushin, go to Agege. Even my wife, at times she will make sales. Some POS will come to her and tell her that, please give you your money. And they will transfer the money into her account. And for people like that, she doesn't also need cash to go and make her purchase from anywhere. The distributors of merchandise, they will come and say, Madam, we are giving you 200,000, 250,000. Just transfer the money. She will transfer the money to them. But another thing is that why I say the bank is culpable is that to every transaction that you make to the bank, or these people make, if you go to any POS, you want to transact 50,000, he or she will charge you probably 500 naira or 2,000 naira. But by the time the man is sending the money to her account, the bank will charge her for the transaction he or she has made. So the bank is also making money from the operation of the POS. So they have no reason whatsoever to tell us that it is the bank or the central bank, because the ordinary people don't go to central bank. The central bank is a bank of last resort.
For the bankers.
For the bankers.
Yeah, the bank
it's a
of the
bank for the bankers. So they first of all have to answer that question. Why is it that we cannot get new news from the bank? Is it
So
that
the blame game.
The blame game is not sincere. Yes, I can understand that Nigerians.
It's lame.
It's lame. I can understand that Nigerians have no system in the banking system. Why would they? Why would we need your 250,000 naira during the obnoxious Naira design? Some people are operation theaters. They have money, they cannot collect money. True. Private hospitals, government hospitals, they cannot make any purchase. There's no money. Nobody wants you to go through because they won't get their cash. So they are also culpable for creating lack of confidence in their own system by the majority of Nigerians. The bankers are responsible. But first of all, I want somebody to come out and say who is responsible for the new news that we get at Owambe parties. The meat that we get at Owambe parties.
You talked about cashless policy. How will you assess it? Since the time it's been on, do you think it has recorded success?
Maybe not. The word is not success, but there's a whole lot of improvement. For example, I can't remember the last time I brought out cash to load my phone.
Okay.
I can't remember the last time I deal with cash. You understand? I can't remember the last time I took cash to a filling station to buy fuel. So there's a whole lot of paradigm shifts in the way we relate. And it's also a good way. Even in many companies now, you can trace the record of how much gets into the company through transactions. You understand? So there is a whole lot of improvement. But like you said, the parameter for judging whether it's successful, I don't know, you are the examiner. But technically speaking, I think we should marry the two. Okay. Let's avoid this carrying cash at different places. True. This idea of mint, if we follow the law that dealt with Bobrisky, trust me, all these people should be picked up. They don't have to sell it before they are picked up.
Section 21 of the CBN Act of 2007 talks about prohibition of buying and selling the Naira. Why is it that the CBN is not implementing its own laws?
Well,
you talked about the issue
I will take you back to that place.
Yes.
The CBN is a banker's bank. The bank, based on the receipts, the returns from the commercial bank, CBDs, and some others. The thing now is that when they push the money down to the commercial bank, who is responsible?
To check the bank.
How do they check it now? They now sent a message last week that if you go to any ATM and they cannot disburse money to you, you should send a text message to a particular one. We all know Nigeria. This is a country that is absolutely difficult to keep law and to enforce law. There's one thing to make laws. There's another thing for enforcement. So you need a whole gamut of system to enforce the laws made by the central bank.
Okay,
but the whole thing lies on the commercial bank.
Commercial bank. Just hold that thought. We have Wilson calling from Ojo. Wilson, so good to have you join us.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. Let's talk.
Thank you for your show. I want to contribute to this scarcity. All right?
Okay.
One angle is that, you know, these kidnappers and all that, they collect money in cash. And when they collect the cash, those cash, they are out of circulation. You know, you hear they're collecting million, thousand from victims. So that's another angle that could create this scarcity of cash. That's my position. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Quite valid. Quite valid. I think irrespective of the quantum of cash we are dealing with, because these guys don't want the money to be transacted because it can be traced.
Yes.
So they want cash. So people have been forced to even be keeping money for the evil day. That's how bad it is. So I think it's also a gamut of so many things government needs to fix, including insecurity.
But is there like a nexus, like a connection between this scarcity and inflation? Do you think the CBN this thing is a deliberate effort to reduce the amount of cash in circulation?
Yes, and at the same time, like I said, I don't want to be tempted to speak for them.
Yes.
But CBN is at the vanguard of preaching cashless society.
Okay.
I am for it.
Sure.
I am for it. But like as we know, there are so many retailers, there are so many market women and men who will say, give me cash. But, you know, the POS is there to sort that out. But like you said, let the chain be sincere. Let the chain be transparent. Okay. Let us know that this money that the POS is getting is the same money we also get from the ATM machines.
Okay. All right, let's move straight to, well said, let's move straight to our third conversation. We're having some cheery news from the oil sector. It goes like this, that Nigeria has retained its position as Africa's largest oil producer. In its latest monthly oil market report, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, said the country's oil output increased to 1.48 million barrels per day in November from 1.33 million barrels per day in October. OPEC said the 1.33 million barrels per day was Africa's largest in October. In November, Algeria was rated second with 908,000 barrels per day, followed by Congo with an output of 268,000 barrels per day. Okay, Tunde Abaton, judging by how Nigeria struggled to meet its OPEC quota, is this good news?
Well, it is good news, and we got the result probably because of the increased sensitivity about the government to the activities at the oil producing area in terms of security.
Oil theft and all?
If oil theft is curbed, naturally, Nigeria is the only country that I know that no minister or MD of NNPC can come out and tell Nigerians how much we are producing per day. Because the quantum of oil that is stolen, of crude that is stolen, nobody is able to keep track of it. Unlike some other countries out there, they keep track of it. I'm not saying we can eliminate theft completely, but when we reduce it to the barest minimum, it will now help us to meet the OPEC quota. Okay. But meeting the OPEC quota is a plus for Nigeria. But another thing, the problem is that, yes, we are now making more money. We are making more money courtesy of the rise of the crisis in the Gulf, crisis in the Middle East. But I pray that as we are making the money and the royalties are being paid to the federal government, because actually it's royalty that we are collecting, and as the federal government is disbursing this money through FAC every month, let other governments, state government, local governments, allow the people to know the effect that Nigeria is now making more money. Thank God that we used to service our debt with 97% of what we were making before May, up to May last year. But now it has been reduced to 65%, which is still high. It's still high, which means the 28% increase should be used to generate the economy. All the governors should use the money to revolve the economy, because that is when the ordinary man, all these tourists we are talking about, it does not make anything to them. So far, it doesn't go down to the ordinary man in the street.
Exactly.
That's why I always appeal to governors and local governments to allow this money that they are collecting from the federal government to flow down to the masses. They should do programs that will allow the money to flow the masses, rather than doing programs that will encourage capital flight. Because most of them are building airports now. And when you see components of airport building, besides the bitumen that they are going to use, 80% are probably money that is taken away. So because these are the indices that will help the local economy. Because if the local economy, no matter how the president can try, people have to know that it is not the president, it is the governors and local governments that are driving the economy. They are the ones driving the SMEs.
Exactly.
The president is not even supposed to know about the price of foodstuff. Let the governors put on the act, so that this money that we are making now, because we are getting more money into the federation account, the bottom line is that Nigerians have to feel it. True. It is a very good news for Nigeria, but are Nigerians feeling it? It is those people in government at all levels that will allow this money that is being disbursed to go down into the people, to do SMEs that will touch the people. I would say what do they call it? The local economy.
Okay, but can we say that the marching order given by the president, talking about stopping all theft, is actually yielding results?
You see, sorry, I just want to do a playback. Okay. You know, when you said cherry news, I almost looked at it that, do I agree with you? Because, you know,
judging by...
I agree with you, but why it's not cherry to me is the fact that what is the translation to everyday man, like you mentioned?
Okay.
What is this huge figures, largest economy? And I was forced to read about Nigeria again. Why are we so blessed? Do you understand? This is like the only, if you look at the oil-producing countries, you know, we are just like the only in West Africa. You understand? Ghana will tell you oil-producing, whatever figures they have. But we're so blessed that even neighboring countries don't have what we have. And why are they
able to maintain
looking better than us? It's a serious concern for me. What are we doing with this beautiful story that we have just read? 1.4 at a time it was so bad that it was less than 1 million per barrel. So whatever the president has done needs to be consolidated. We need to give account of these beautiful numbers. They are even shooting, I think there was a time they even achieved 1.8. Thereabouts.
We're still thinking of maybe going to like 2.1.
That was the target for this.
So these figures will only make sense, not just to man on the street, to all of us, when we see these things being translated to the SMEs and to everyone who can say, now we're even talking of this crude, we're talking of refineries, we're talking of these things being produced here. That we are not going to use the crazy exchange rate to do it and export it here, and we are dealing with the total production is almost more than 8,000 naira. So for me, I think what will make Nigeria happy with this news is how do we take advantage of this? I remember people celebrating Jonathan that he enjoyed. Oh, there was, Nigeria was making it. I think it was
$100
per barrel. Now we are getting close, and there's a whole lot of discipline that is being, churned out by this government.
System,
but we must see it translated. We should not allow some individuals to mortgage the system, to corner it, to go into capital flight. Let's do things. I'm sorry to say this. It's not a popular opinion. What is the benefit of airports? Even here in Lagos, I can tell you that nothing less than 90% of people living in Lagos have never entered plane.
Yes.
So whose interests are you pushing? I'm not saying you shouldn't be in some
rural
areas, but fix the road, fix those things that affect them every now and then.
Even with the many airports that we have around the country, how many of them are profitable?
Probably Lagos, Calabar,
maybe 2 or 3.
You understand? So we don't have to be too elitist. We don't have to be like, oh, there are about 5 airports in New York, and therefore in Lagos we should have in Lekki. I agree. Lagos is cool to have such things. But excuse me, sir, people need to eat. People need to feed before we can talk of people who can always afford flights and they are not bothered about what happens on the road.
Exactly. Now let's look at oil theft. Can we say political will, using technology, the sincerity of the NNPC, and also going after those who collaborate with the IOCs, putting to steal our crude, putting all of this together, do you think is enough to end crude oil theft in Nigeria? All of these factors.
Well, I think, like you said, the biggest factor is the political willingness of the leadership. And if between May last year, May 29 last year, and now, we have increased our production to 900,000 barrels per day, those people who are stealing oil, they are not ghosts.
True, they are not ghosts.
So
True.
it's a combination of a lot of things, both the military, both the civil populace, both the cabals.
We also have Tantita doing
and
something.
not only don't limit to NNPC alone, because when you mention IOCs, yes, non-IOC will not steal oil, but
there are some that are collaborating with them.
Collaborating with the one that will steal oil. They can only achieve this thing by using our people. It's not possible for anybody to come from the moon and steal Nigeria's oil. So the efforts of all these things together, when Nigeria decide that, look, we want to protect our own, we are going to do it. Both the military, both the local people, and some others. Anyway, if the money that is being sent to the areas through the derivation is not being used to take care of the people in the rural communities, there's no way you can stop oil theft.
Okay, the 13%
derivation.
So that I don't also dodge, it doesn't look as if I dodge your question. Based on what he said.
Yes.
I agree that, and in my view, sorry, it might be very pedestrian, I like the fact that oil theft has reduced as much as it should be on zero level. But practically, it has reduced. And I think the approach of the president with former militants is working well.
It's working well.
However, whether the military is culpable or not culpable, the most important thing is the political will to deal with this, anybody caught in that kind of sharp practices. It's something that the president must push further. Let's see them being paraded. Let's see them being disgraced.
Exactly.
And
we cannot say that they are not guilty.
Exactly.
And let those people who are collecting derivation every month translate the money into taking care of those people on whose
they should be accountable,
so that they will not be tempted to collaborate with those people who are stealing crude. Because it is either way. If you cannot take care of their community, if they can collaborate, they will develop their own. They will bring their own borehole. There are some areas in the south, there's no water. They cannot farm. And somebody will come with $10,000 and you are speaking grammar to him.
Yeah, especially in areas like Ogoni, we see they can't
you have
farm,
to
they
take care
can't
of
fish
those local
anymore.
people. Let the derivation 13% that people are collecting,
Yes.
let it reflect not only on oil, on other mineral resources that we have in Nigeria, limestone, everything.
Yes. I appreciate you, gentlemen. Thank you so much. I've been speaking with Kaide Ladebe. Thank you very much for having this
Always a pleasure.
Sonia Abaton, thank you very much. Also, during the show, we had a conversation with Dr. Kalijai Adeboye Paul, PhD. We also had that conversation. Thank you so much for making the show beautiful. And also to the gentlemen, the PCR and MCR, for pressing the buttons appropriately. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen.
There are no ladies in the media.
And that's it on Journalist Hangouts today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11. And you can also join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Benga Oreshegun. Bye for now. God bless Nigeria.
Amazing treats for everyone this holiday with Showmax. Celebrate like a champion with soccer.
Very well taken.
Find your festive inspo with our masters of style.
That's what I'm here for.
Embark on a fun-filled global adventure. Here we go. Share your love moments with family and friends.
My son, the most handsome.
And enjoy some truly royal spoils.
I want the power to control what happens in my life.
Only on Showmax, because everyone deserves a holiday treat.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. At ShopX TV, our customers are the heart of everything we do. As a special thank you for your continued support, we are offering our customers 10% off on selected products. That's right, shop now and save big on some of your favorite items while stock lasts. Don't miss out on this opportunity to grab amazing products at unbelievable prices. First is our amazing 4-in-1 CookX blender. It's a food processor, a grinder, a blender, and a juicer all in one. The CookX 4-in-1 blender comes with 3 versatile cup sizes, each crafted to handle special tasks perfectly. Imagine effortlessly whipping up smoothies that are truly smooth, pounded yam and soups that are flawlessly pounded and blended. You would normally pay 189,950 naira for the CookX 4-in-1 blender, but call the number on your screen right now or scan the QR code and get it for just 170,995 naira. Incredible! And that's not all. You can get the CookX 4-in-1 blender in 2 easy payments of 85,498 naira. That's right, pay twice to get this amazing cooking solution. And we are not done yet. ShopX TV is proud to introduce the ShopX Ultimate Crunch Exercise Machine. The 6-in-1 machine is designed to take your fitness to the next level. No need to worry about expensive gym fees. You can now work out from the comfort of your home and achieve results. With Ultimate Crunch cutting-edge technology, you can transform your body. Its enhanced features deliver a full body workout that's efficient, effective, and enjoyable. The secret is its advanced design that combines multiple exercise models into one unit. The versatile machine features adjustable resistance levels, an ergonomic design, and a built-in digital tracking system that displays speed, time, distance, and calories burned. From sculpting your abs to toning your legs, upper body, and strengthening your core, you would normally pay up to 449,950 naira for the ShopX Ultimate Crunch. But for a limited time only, call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code and get the ShopX Ultimate Crunch at 404,955 naira. Incredible! And that's not all. You can get the ShopX Ultimate Total Crunch in 2 easy payments of 202,478 naira. That's right, pay twice to get this amazing fitness solution. But hurry, limited stocks available. So call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code or visit our website to place your order while stock lasts. The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV. Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked, and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Ogun State, the gateway to Nigeria, is setting the pace with groundbreaking infrastructure projects and innovative social programs for economic development. Join us every week for Gateway Diary, where we spotlight the incredible initiatives and achievements of Ogun State government under the leadership of Governor Dapo Abiodun. Discover how Prince Dapo Abiodun and his team are empowering communities, fostering economic growth, and enhancing the quality of life for the good people of Ogun State. With exclusive interviews, behind-the-scenes access, and real-time stories from the people, Gateway Diary offers authentic and inspiring insight into the progress and prosperity of Ogun State. Gateway Diary, showing at this time.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking it.
Thanks everyone for joining us on Thursday's edition of Beyond 100 Days. I am Nifemi Oguntoye, and we begin the program this hour with breaking news from Kano State, where Governor Abba Yusuf has dismissed the Secretary to the State Government, Abdullahi Bichi, and his Chief of Staff, Shehu Shagagi, as part of a major cabinet reshuffle. Well, the announcement was made by the governor's spokesman, Sanusi Bature, during a press briefing at the Kano Government House. Mr. Bature revealed that 5 commissioners were also affected in the reshuffling. They are commissioners for finance, special duties, information and internal affairs, as well as commissioner for rural and community development. One more commissioner there is the commissioner for culture and tourism. We're monitoring this story closely and we'll bring you updates as they emerge. In other news, President Bola Tinubu will present the 2025 budget to a joint session of the National Assembly next Tuesday. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said this during plenary on the floor of the Senate. President Tinubu had earlier submitted the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper for 2025 to 2027 to both the Senate and the House of Representatives last Tuesday. And this is coming on the day the Senate summoned the managing director of Julius Berger Nigeria PLC, Pierre Lubask, over the company's refusal to honor invitations to provide details on the Odupani-Itu Highway project. The resolution followed a motion moved by the Senate Minority Whip, Senator Osita Ungo. And now to our main conversation this evening. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development says President Tinubu is committed to repairing and restructuring facilities and buildings belonging to the federal government. The minister was on a visit to inspect the Renewed Hope housing project. Ayomide Ajegbe has more in this report.
The first point of call for the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Dangowa, is the Ministry of Works and Housing building located at the Tafawa Balewa Square TBS area, where he was taken round to see the declined state of the office complex, with lack of electricity, water supply, and apparent decay in infrastructure. Same situation applies to the National Boundary Commission, where some of the buildings are caving in. The minister says there is need for urgent infrastructure redevelopment in Lagos State.
Very sad what we saw there in the building. And despite that, we are housing our own staff that are working in these deplorable conditions. We have seen that most of their sanitary conditions, most of the sanitary facilities are down. There's no water supply, no electricity supply, even the power supply from the NEPA or from the power holdings is also down. Most of the things cannot do it. So what we saw there is very deplorable. That's why we intend to ensure that we upgrade their facilities and ensure that they are working in a better shape.
Dilapidated, abandoned, neglected. That is the same story of all the federal buildings we have been today.
This federal secretariat is a shadow of itself. The new sheriff in town is in talks with the permanent secretary and officials on what has been and what should be done on the state of infrastructure here.
The next few months that will come, we want to ensure that we change the face of most of these buildings and most of the federal government assets that we are having in Lagos. Because to the state government, we are causing a lot of problem for them for leaving our buildings unrehabilitated, and also causing a lot of some security concerns.
Next point of call is the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing Building Craft Training School, where the minister says there will be more concentration on this facility in 2025 with a skills acquisition program for young people coming on board.
We intend to launch the National Artisan Skill Acquisition Program for our teaming youth that are on the streets, so that we train them, and we want to bring them throughout this southwestern region into this facility, because it's fully equipped with workshops, classrooms, and even hostel accommodation in the nearby facility that belongs to this. So we can train them from various states within this region and ensure that they are trained under that. Because it's a plan we intend to do within the next year's first quarter.
Thereafter, the minister visited the National Population Commission located in Surulere, where he was taken around the facilities and familiarized with areas in need of attention. Ayomide Ajegbe, TVC News, Lagos.
The Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Dangiwa, is in Lagos. He joins me live on the program this evening. Honorable Minister, welcome to Lagos. How's the Center of Excellence treating you?
Hello, thank you very much, TVC, and good evening.
Good evening. You've been to many federal properties here in Lagos and witnessing firsthand the urgent need for attention, and you've also shown commitment to upgrading the facilities. But do you think we've been able to identify what the real issues really are here? What do you think we have to fix systemically such that federal government assets will be maintained regularly without relying on ministerial visits like this?
Well, as far as we are concerned, it's due to neglect. You know, years of neglect that what brings out these deplorable conditions, because we don't have the habit of constant maintenance of our facilities. So that's why we now felt that there is the need for us to go around. That's why we're on a 3-day working visit to Lagos State, where we supervise some of our uncompleted projects and also supervise some of the federal government facilities and even the landed assets. The facilities, as I said earlier, are in deplorable conditions. Most of them, they have stayed very long years without being rehabilitated or being maintained. So that is the crux of the matter. And in these buildings, you'll find that it's our own staff of the Federal Ministry of Federal Ministries and other agencies of federal government that are housing these facilities. In one of the buildings, we met over 40 ministries and agencies that are living in that facility. And for them to stay without the basic needs of living, like water, electricity, and sanitary conditions, is a terrible condition that they are living in. And that's why we felt that not even the physical structure, even the internal fabric of the building needs to be upgraded.
I hear you, and we understand what the deplorable state is like. My question really has to do with what you think the root causes were. Was it that there were no funds, there were no budgeted funds to have this building?
You said the real cause of it. The real cause is not neglect for long years without being taken care of. A building able to 3 years, you need to come and repaint it and change any of the things that got spoiled, like the door locks. If you leave the door locks, then it will keep on deteriorating. And if you don't even repair the glasses, the next thing is the door itself that will come down. And the next thing is the fabric and even internally. In a toilet, if you allow the washhand basin to be leaking, the next thing you will find the washhand basin on the floor if you don't repair it. So it's a long years of neglect. That's what causes it. And currently we have a department in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development that is in charge of rehabilitation of all public buildings. So that's what
all right, let us
implement and ensure that that department works the way it should.
Let's talk about some abandoned federal houses. Just like the Federal Secretariat building you visited in Onikon, there are quite a number of abandoned federal housing projects scattered across the country. I'm wondering if reviving and completing these projects is priority for this government, and what would you say is the strategy?
Well, the most important, you need to know that we have housing deficits, and there are a lot of people who are yearning to have accommodation, especially housing accommodation. Most especially in Lagos, which is a cosmopolitan city. This city of Lagos, or this state, is housing over 22 million Nigerians. So there is a need for any building that needs to be rehabilitated to be put to use. And the buildings are meant to be completed and then put to use. So over here, some contractors will get the job, but they will not be able to complete the work. So that's why we now want to bring in these contractors to our table to sit down with them. Those who could not continue, we pay them off, and then we get a new contractor who will complete them. And those who are ready to come and do it, we we are going to invite them and supervise them and ensure that they go back to site and complete it. That's what we intend to do for all our housing projects.
Because it really amazes many Nigerians, the fact that we have hundreds, if not thousands, of uncompleted projects. And then with each new administration comes the vision to build more. And then you're wondering what should be priority, completing what began before or starting new ones. What's your ideology in this regard?
Well, both the two things you have to do them. Because if you leave an uncompleted building without completing them, it becomes a security risk to the citizens and even to the neighborhood. Because some of the hoodlums will find a place to hide, and you'll be having some problems with that. So that doesn't mean that you don't have to complete them. That's why in our housing program we have budgetary allocations for completing it, and then we have also budgetary allocations for new ones. So it goes hand in hand with it.
Everyone is talking about the renewed Hope Cities and Estates program, and whether or not it's the solution to our housing deficit estimated to be about 28 million units. You mentioned earlier that construction is ongoing in more than 10,000 housing units, I think in about 14 sites nationwide. With the recent groundbreaking in Lagos and Kano, perhaps that figure would have come up. But quickly, give us an overview of where these projects are at the moment, when they will be commissioned, and if the annual target of 20,000 housing units is still achievable per year, which of course is a far cry from the 550,000 we need to build every year for the next 10 years to address our deficit.
You need to know that the housing challenge in this country is very large. We need at least 550,000 houses annually in order to bridge that gap you are talking about. So depending on what we have, that's why we now say that our budgetary allocations, we want to ensure that we spread the houses. Currently we have 2 or 3 programs. The first one is the Renewed Hope Cities. We intend to do it in 7 locations. FCT and 1 in each of the 6 geopolitical zones. The FCT has commenced, and Kano in the northwest has commenced, and that of Lagos in the southwest has commenced, southwest. The remaining 4 locations, which is north central, northeast, south-south, and southeast, are the ones who have also gotten land in order to commence them. All these Renewed Hope Cities are under PPP, public-private partnerships, to which developers are invited to come and ensure that they deliver 1,000 houses and above. Because these places and locations are cosmopolitan, that needs a large number of units to be done. And the issue of completing our ongoing projects is one area which is a low-hanging fruit. These houses, by the time you complete them quickly, within 3-4 months or 6 months, you will add up to the ones you are having. Currently, we have 10,112 housing units nationwide, new houses that this administration has set out. The 3 Renewed Hope Cities, and then we have 2 in each of the geographical zone of the Federation, where we have 12 locations, 12 sites, each 250,000 houses. If you add 250 times 12, that makes it 3,000. Plus 3,112 we're having in Abuja, and then 2,000 in Lagos, and another one, and 2,000 in Kano. That makes it 10,112. These are the houses that are already on ground. And you need to know that other agencies of government, like the Federal Housing Authorities, we have charged them also to ensure that they upscale their performance and ensure that they deliver. So also the Federal Mortgage Bank that are giving construction finance to some of the developers. So if you add it up, currently we have more than 20,000 site locations that we're having. So we are on course, and we assure you that by next year when we are very much clear with the PPP arrangement, more developers will come on board, and then more houses will be churned out in these 4 locations that are yet to take place.
Honorable Minister, let's go on a short break and we'll be back with more. Stay with us, everyone. Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Dagiwa, thank you for staying the course on the program this evening. Conversations arrive as to whether or not this administration is on track with the set goals concerning these housing